So good evening and good morning, everybody. Let me just get the slide deck up. Hopefully everybody can see the screen. In this section of the presentation, I'm going to do three things. I'm going to share Empowering's mission and vision. I'm going to briefly outline three areas of our work. And then I'm going to describe in more detail our content platform, ORB, which is the focus of this webinar. And on this slide, we've captured some key points that we know in terms of the number of women and children who die each year, and that many of these deaths we know could have been prevented with simple, affordable interventions if there'd been a trained frontline health worker. We also know that access to mobile phones, including smartphones, is increasing, and network coverage is improving rapidly in many developing countries. So Empowering's mission is to help end preventable maternal and child deaths. Apologies for the false start, everybody. I'll just move ahead quickly. And just to say that Empowering's mission is to help end preventable maternal and child deaths. And we're doing this through accelerating the use of mobile technologies to improve the performance of frontline health workers. And we're using mobile technology to help provide them with learning opportunities, as well as to give them job aids so they feel more confident and skilled to deliver effective health services. Very briefly, we have three areas of work that I'm going to describe now. In our country programs, we help partners to implement and scale proven mHealth interventions, and we're currently supporting programs in more than 10 countries in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. In our global learning work, we're focusing on community health workers and the learning and information needs that they have. We're looking at developing the economic case for investment in mHealth, and we're working with partners to help build resilient health systems. In our advocacy work, we advocate for global standards for training community health workers and for the use of open source content. We advocate for collaborative efforts to build strong community health systems, and we work through a network of over 200 organizations, building on their expertise and leveraging the skills they have so that we can maximize the impact that Empowering has across the countries we're working in. Our fourth area of work and the focus of this webinar is our content platform, ORB. So what is ORB? Essentially, it's a comprehensive online library for frontline health workers. And what's distinctive about ORB is that we really focus on quality. We focus on the relevance of the materials for frontline health workers who are based in low resource settings. And we focus on accessibility, so the content on ORB can be viewed online or it can be downloaded for sharing offline. Currently, the content on ORB, and this is our home screen, is focused on 6 health domains, and you can see those there. Since launching ORB, I should say this just shows that ORB can be used on a laptop or computer, it can be used on a tablet, and it can be used on mobile phones. Since we launched ORB in June, we've had people from more than 100 countries visit the site to look at the resources. We have more than 200 resources, and we've had over 2,000 unique visitors. And what we're hoping is that after this webinar, you'll feel inspired to visit ORB and to look at the resources and to think about how you can use them in your programs. We believe that making life-sharing content freely available worldwide, ORB has the potential to transform the way health workers are trained and supported to deliver quality health services in their communities. So how can you use ORB? I'm now going to share, hopefully, the ORB website, and Alex is going to talk you through both how to use ORB and how you can add resources. And then he's going to go on and talk to you about how the content from ORB can be used to create courses using Oppia Mobile. So Alex, over to you.
Thanks. So, hi everyone. Yes, I can see Leslie Ann's browser with the ORB platform there. So that's the first starting point, is getting the URL. And as I say, you don't need any login or registration isn't required. Although for some features in the future, you might need it. We have, like Leslie Ann just said, we have like a responsive design so that the site can be used on various different devices, and what you see will be optimized for the type of device that you're using. Currently, we're very much focused on the reproductive, maternal, and neonatal and child health, but we are looking to kind of expand that remit into other areas, and the platform would support that quite easily. We've also had a strong focus on using only openly licensed content. So that means that we're looking at usually content which is under a Creative Commons license, because that then means that we don't have like restrictions with who can use them, who can redistribute the resources, who can translate them, adapt them, and this sort of thing. And as Leslie Ann mentioned before, we also have a very strong focus on the quality assurance. And I'll speak more in a few minutes about the kind of review process that we have. So, but first of all, we'll start off with, well, once you got to the home screen, what do you want to do? So we have kind of like three main methods for like finding content. That's either the browse by health domain. So on the home screen there, you can see the 6 health domains that we're covering, and they also appear in the menu bar there. So Leslie Ann, if we'd like to go into one of them, nutrition would be good. So here we can see a list of all the resources that we have tagged with nutrition. Under each of these, we have a set of icons to help give you a bit of an overview as to like which country it might be focused on, which languages the content might be in, and how long the resources are. So we have quite a lot of video content at the moment. They tend to be fairly short, like up to about 10 minutes long. And then we have right up to like full courses, which may be several weeks long. So we have quite a wide variety of content up there. So that's the kind of the like browsing by the health domain. You can also search. So if we want to pop back, there's the search screen. So and Leslie Ann is going to think of something to search for us. She's picked breastfeeding, and again, these are the search results, and again, they're displayed in exactly the same way. So we have the title, what type of resource it is, the organization that created it, and a brief description, and then we have all the kind of icons to help give you like a quick picture of kind of whether this might be the appropriate resource for you. So those are the first two ways you can find content. We also have like an advanced search and filtering. So perhaps you're looking for content about a specific in a specific health domain. Perhaps you're specifically looking for videos. So we've picked there like antenatal care and video, and we're looking for resources that are more kind of focused on midwives in Africa, I think. Shall we pick? Let's try that one. So you have quite a lot of options for filtering. So then we have, so now we've kind of narrowed down our search results basically by using that. So, and again, we use the same display for actually showing the resources. So if we actually go into one of the resources, maybe we pick that position of the baby video from Global Health Media. So here we have the title, and then we actually have the like embedded YouTube video. If we scroll down a little bit further, I think then we have the various links, and these are to the different translations of this video which are available. So we can either link directly to a resource, or you can actually upload the actual file. So in the case of a video, you could upload the AVI file, or a document, or a course, or something like that. You can upload the files, or you can link out. And then we have some extra like metadata information about the resource. So we've got the study time, the organization, language, health domain, the type of resource. I think that's, yeah, then the audience, so who it's designed for, which country it's designed for, maybe designed for, which devices, and then finally the license. So here we have the information that it's this specific one is a Creative Commons non-commercial license. And with each of these icons that we have on the page here, you can click on any of those and it will take you to all of the resources. So for example, if we clicked on all of the resources for a tablet, it would give us all of the resources for those. So those are kind of the three main ways of kind of navigating the site. And like finding resources. So we've tried to make it quite straightforward and easy to follow, and also especially when people are using it on like mobile devices, they don't want a very kind of cluttered screen. So we put quite a lot of effort into making sure it's quite a clean design and straightforward for people to use, perhaps even if they don't have English as a first language as well, because we have quite a lot of resources which are in multiple languages. So that's kind of the first start of like how you would find the resources. But what if you wanted to submit something? So for this, you would need to log in and register for an account, but registration is free and your account is set up immediately. So there's and we ask for very minimal information from you. So once you've logged in and created an account, you can click on the Add Resource link in the menu bar, and then we have a form here that you can complete with the data about your resource that you'd like to upload. And again, of course, this just matches what we've just seen on the resource display page. So I think that's kind of the main, those are the main parts that I wanted to actually show on the site. I think probably now we can jump back to the presentation, Leslie Ann. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're so kind of now like following on from like how you submit resources. I think now we have like the kind of the criteria page. Yeah, that's the one. So kind of like we said before, we have a set of criteria for when you're uploading a resource, and as we have here, these are it's got to be reproductive, maternal, and child health focused. Must be under an open license. We're also very much looking for training content for health workers. So it's something that they would actually use to be trained. So we're not looking for things like research reports and monitoring and evaluation papers and these sorts of things, because I think there are a lot of sites already out there that cover those sorts of resources. And so we've kind of very much tried to focus on resources that trainers and health workers will use in their kind of day-to-day lives. And again, we've highlighted in red the quality there, because that's very important for us so that people know that when they come to the when they find a resource on here, they know that it's been well written, they know it's targeted at the right audience, it's medically correct as well, which is obviously very important. So if we jump to the next slide, we then have a little bit of information about our kind of content review process. So when content is or a resource is uploaded, it's not available straight away. It has to go through our content review team process. So we have a group of about 30 people at the moment on our content review team, and they will check the resource for make sure it's good quality, make sure it all works, make sure it's appropriate. They use the same guidelines that you can see on the site when you submit the resource. So that's exactly how the resources will be judged. So they're looking at the basic criteria that we have, and if it passes that, it then goes to a medical expert panel, and we have several doctors from many international health organizations who sit on our medical expert panel, and they will then check the resource to ensure it's fully up to date with like current medical and health guidelines and best practice. And then if it passes that, then the resource is available on the site. So then when people come to the site, they know that there are good quality resources, and they can depend on them being correct. So although we have the content review process, we do recognize that some organizations have quite a lot of content that they would like to submit, and we don't always need, and we know that they have very good quality assurance processes in place. So they, for example, they already have their videos are perhaps reviewed by obstetricians and gynecologists and things, so we know that they've already been through a good QA process. So we would like to invite those sorts of organizations to become content partners, and that means that you get kind of a fast track through the content review, because we know that you have good processes. So we will so your content just gets uploaded automatically, and it gives you can also then get a specific page as well to kind of group all of your resources together. And what we kind of ask back from you is that you will continue to submit content, and that you'll be an advocate for ORB and the use of the resources there. So next slide is, so once you've kind of, we were looking earlier at how you can search for the resources and find them, and then kind of, so what do you do next? Is the next thing once you've found some resources. So there's several different things we kind of explain to people that they can use. Of course, this is not exhaustive. You may find other interesting ways to use them as well. So depending on your kind of situation and program you might be working on. So firstly is kind of a fairly basic one would be just to copy the videos onto SD cards and load them onto health workers or the students' phones, especially if people have very kind of low bandwidth, or they don't have good internet access. That might be the kind of most appropriate way. You may want to integrate the resources into mobile learning or e-learning courses. You might want to use these as teaching aids. So it might be a lecturer or a trainer who's downloading resources, and they want to use that as part of their face-to-face and classroom teaching. So quite a lot of especially perhaps a lot of the video content that we have would be very useful for that. And we also have content which can be used to kind of show the community. So there might be kind of fairly low level, kind of fairly non-medical information in a sense, but to help get across good practice and good health messages for the community. So then, yes, we have the next slide is more for kind of technically minded people. So the platform is completely open source. So you're able to download it and reuse it. It's written using Django, and we have an API which you can use for submitting and getting resources back. So next slide, the end-to-end process. So what do we mean by this, right? So where I was saying before about integrating these resources into mobile learning or e-learning courses, they were like, how do you do that? So the way we're looking at it is there are kind of three steps essentially in this kind of process. Firstly, is that we have a repository of content, and that's ORB in our situation. So perhaps you find a lot of the great content on there that you want to use to construct a training course. So what you would, but then what you want to do, you want to be able to order all of that content. You want to be able to put narrative in between the resources. You might want to add some quizzes. You might want to add other activities, things like this. So you need to actually structure these resources into a course. So that's where we have like a course or learning management system. And we're using Moodle quite a lot, so I'll come on to that in a few moments. And then the final part of that is, now that you have it in a course or learning management system, you need to actually get it to users. So, and there could be various ways in which you would want to do that. So it could be downloading it. It could be they could be accessing it within a computer lab. Accessing the courses just on perhaps the local network or something like that. Or you might actually be loading them onto their mobile phones to run when they're offline. We've had a paper published fairly recently which goes into a lot more kind of information about this end-to-end process. So we popped the link in there. So if you're interested, then take a read. And I think that's kind of the main part that I wanted to speak about ORB specifically. And then we have the other part that I wanted to talk about was Oppia Mobile. So just slightly going back to our kind of end-to-end process. So at the moment we have ORB as the repository, we have a learning management system, and we want to be able to deliver this stuff onto mobile devices. So with my other hat on in my role and job, I work for Digital Campus, and we developed Oppia Mobile, which is a mobile learning application which you can install on your Android smartphone, and it allows you to run courses completely offline. So we can create courses using Moodle, which I'm sure if people are familiar with using learning management systems, it's probably the most popular one there is, because it's free and it's used in hundreds or thousands of colleges and schools and universities around the world. So we can construct our course in Moodle, but probably a lot of our users, especially some rural health workers, aren't going to have computers or bandwidth or connectivity to be able to access that. So what we do is we create the course in Moodle and we export it, essentially to a zip file. And that file we can load onto a health worker's phone, and that contains all of the quizzes, all of the content, all of the videos, all of these types of activities that they might want to do, and then they can access that when they're completely offline. So it helps reduce a lot of they don't have any really like bandwidth cost. They know it's always going to be reliable. They're not dependent on whether the mobile phone masts are working near them or anything. And what happens is when there is a connection available, it reports back the kind of activity information, quiz scores, and how long videos were watched and things like that. That's all kind of reported back to a server. So then teachers can monitor how their students are performing on particular topics and courses. So that just happens when a connection becomes available. So it just the phone just holds all the data until there's a connection, and then it sends it back. So that's a kind of very quick run through of ORB and our kind of how we get to use resources, how we can find them, what ORB's all about, and our kind of end-to-end process, and how we could use for example, Oppia Mobile to actually deliver these courses in the end. So I will pass back now to Leslie Ann, but if you have any questions and follow up and stuff, we will have a Q&A session in a few minutes, I think.
Thank you, Alex. So I'm just going to build a bit on what Alex was saying in terms of how the content on ORB can be used in a maternal and child health program, and I'm just going to briefly outline 3 ways. Alex mentioned about using the content to create e-learning modules, and we're currently working with a partner who is in the process of creating an e-learning module on cord care. And they wanted a demonstration on how to cut the cord properly, how to keep the area clean, and then be able to describe to the health workers how to identify signs of infection. And so they wanted to create a learning opportunity that captured all of these messages. So the partner went to the ORB platform, and they found that we had several videos and other materials on cord care, including some really good ones from medical aid film. So instead of having to create new resources, they were able to just adapt the ones that they found and build those into their e-learning module and design it in a way that met the specific needs of the health workers that they're working with. A second way that ORB is being used is by health workers who need information at a critical point. They could potentially Google to get information, but we all know when you Google something, you get so much information coming back to you, and you might not know how to understand what of that information is relevant to you. Is it quality? Can you use it? So if a health worker needs to remind herself about a particular service, for example, if she's about to run a nutrition day, or if she's going to talk to a mother about family planning, then she can simply search ORB on her phone and she'll find the information and think, yeah, that's what I need to say. And what it does is it gives her confidence when she's working with her client. So a specific example is a health worker who's in the field and she perhaps can't remember the dosage for zinc and oral rehydration solution for a child. And she remembers somehow, she was taught about this, but she can't quite remember the exact amount. If she goes to ORB, she'll see that there are resources from the Zinc ORS partnership. She can look that up on the phone and she can say, oh, right, okay, I see it's 20 milligrams of zinc once a day for 10 days and a whole cup of ORS. So there, right at her fingertips, when she needs it, she has the information that she needs, and she just had to ORB it. And then a third way of using ORB is training and mentoring. And we've talked about different ways of using it for training and using the content as part of a blended approach when teaching, but also it can be used for ongoing mentoring. So for example, on ORB we have counselling cards for breastfeeding. So a health worker's supervisor or mentor may be visiting her, and what she can do with the health worker is pull up those counselling cards on the phone, and with the health worker, scroll through them and use them as a sort of teaching aid and help the health worker gain the confidence that she needs to talk to the mother. And the mentor might also find on ORB a course on breastfeeding and a couple of videos and encourage the health worker to watch those in her own time or when it's a bit quieter in the health facility. And the health worker might decide to actually show those videos to the mother as well. So those counselling cards and those videos can become both a mentoring aid and a teaching aid for the health worker to use with the mother. So basically there are 3 ways that you can use the content. You can reuse and adapt it. You can access information just in time when you need it. And you can use the materials for training and follow-up and mentoring. And what we really hope to achieve with ORB are 3 things. We want to really use it to help raise the training standards for health workers by providing this quality content. We want to use our advocacy around open source to encourage more organisations to share their content. And we really want to grow the library of materials. And as Alex said at the start of this presentation, although we're focused on maternal, child, newborn health at the moment, we're being asked to provide materials around non-communicable disease, around mental health, and other health areas. And so we really hope to be able to expand the library of materials that we can offer. And the third thing that we want to do is we want to really advocate with both donors and programs that they reuse content, that they don't waste money and they don't waste effort duplicating and creating resources that already exist. And so we really want to encourage programmers and donors to think about using ORB in their programs to raise the quality of what they're providing. So that's our brief overview of ORB and how you can use Oppia Mobile to create training programs. We pass it now over to you, and we're very happy to take questions.
This is Alvin.
Hi, Alvin.
Hi. I've met some people over here who have shown interest on the system. I'm surprised they're not yet here, but there's a storm actually in the Philippines. I think that's the problem. One of their questions was allowing them to rebrand the system so that it's their name, but still have the ability to link it. So I think they want to make sure that their branding in the system, but we realize that there's a lot of using the ORB over.
Hi, Alvin. Yeah, sure. I'll take that one. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, like we say, I mean, we've made all of the source code for ORB is open source. So anybody is able to take that code and reuse it. And like kind of like with both Leslie Ann and I have said before, I mean, we see a lot of potential for this. Kind of the underlying technologies that we're using to be used for all sorts of other areas. I mean, it certainly doesn't have to be just reproductive and childcare and things like that. It doesn't even have to be healthcare. You know, I think a lot of the kind of features and functionality that we have are relevant for almost any topic area at kind of at any level as well. So we have put a fair bit of effort into making sure that it would be, you know, the platform could be reused for other topic areas. So in the sense for the kind of rebranding and reuse, then yes, for sure that can be done. And then also very similar, essentially just to kind of tie it up, Oppia Mobile has basically essentially the same licensing kind of and code. The code licensing rather. So it's all open source, and again, you can you're free to rebrand that. So quite a few people have already taken Oppia Mobile and kind of put their own color scheme and their own logo and things like that. And this is also what we would kind of encourage other people to do with kind of the ORB technology side.
Thank you, Alex.
No worries.
And if I could just add to that, one of the things we're looking to explore is being able to create partner pages. So on ORB, there's a page with AHIN, for example. So although AHIN could create its own platform using the code that Alex has developed, we could also look at creating a page on ORB that's an AHIN page that your colleagues could go directly to that page, and that page would be branded as AHIN. Of course, other people could come to it through the search functions and the advanced search, but we could make it, particular to your community.
Thanks, Leslie, and that's great. I think I prefer making sure that there's a link from AHIN back to ORB. Something like AHIN Academy or AHIN Academy Oppia Mobile. I'd like to foster that kind of a partnership as well. So we're having a meeting in Bali in October 26 to 30, and I wanted to airtime that particular participant, the attention of the participants. So maybe we can work on something that's very simple, maybe one lecture, my lecture and Dr. Bunchai's lecture, put it on ORB, install Oppia Mobile on some phones have to work on a logo where we have AHIN or empowering and Oppia Mobile in that small square. I think we'll find a way how to do that. And we'd be happy to have that as for presentation in Bali. I'm not sure what resources you might need to make that happen, but that's something we can talk offline, find out how we can get Leslie or both of
Yeah,
you
thanks.
help us out or work.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks, Alvin. Yeah. Yeah. I just noticed that someone has sent a question in. So Jai says, are there some limits to the size of the learning content so as not to overload the network? So I'll just try and answer that. At the moment, we don't have any, we haven't put any specific limits on what can be uploaded, specifically for this, for the, you know, the file sizes and things like that. I guess, you know, from the in terms of kind of our server side, then, you know, we don't have any problem with hosting like large quantities of files and thousands of resources and things like that. But of course, that is going to be an issue for people who are out in the field, I would assume, who might have kind of poor internet connectivity. So I think most of the kind of resources where you may come across those types of issues, I would expect are going to be the video resources, because they tend to be the largest ones. Most of the video content that we have at the moment is available in a variety of file sizes. So especially two of the main organizations that we've been working with, Medical Aid Films and Global Health Media, they've already kind of addressed that kind of issue already, because they provide the files in various resolutions. So you can download a very high resolution version, which might be quite a large file, but then they also have more kind of mobile optimized versions as well, which will use much less bandwidth. So and I think when it comes to health workers actually using these, I mean, that's certainly an issue for them to be able to download them. And I think that's kind of where we were thinking that, you know, the trainers, training organizations, teachers, they might be the ones who actually download it, because they might are more likely to have a better connectivity, and then they would kind of either, you know, deliver those videos like either in the classroom as part of face-to-face training, or they might put them on SD cards and distribute them that way. So I think we have some ways of kind of getting around those bandwidth limitations. And there, Leslie Ann and I are also working with an organization called Outernet, and they kind of provide a satellite linked box which can store a huge amount of content, and it just updates via a satellite link, and that's a free satellite link. So then you can use your phone to connect to what they call the Lighthouse box, and then you can download the content from there. So then you're taking away all of the kind of bandwidth limitations that people may have. And also when you're downloading large files, if you're paying on a like per megabyte basis, it could get quite expensive. So this kind of strips away both of those issues really. But we're just looking at some various areas and health centers and things that we're going to test this out in.
See that Dr. Jai Mohan on the chat. Dr. Jai Mohan, Medical University, Kuala Lumpur. I was wondering if you guys would be interested in having a special session in Bali. Yes. Dr. Jai, do you have a microphone? Over.
Hello, Dr. Jai. You can speak on your microphone.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Jai doesn't have a microphone.
All right. Well, I can see his question here. So it says, is Moodle being used as a content repository or also as a collaboration tool? So just to kind of explain like how we're using Moodle and how that kind of fits in to this at the moment. I guess how we're using Moodle at the moment is more just for just structuring and organizing the resources. So we're not using it as an actual repository. I mean, it's a collaboration tool in the sense that the course authors can collaborate to create the course. So that's kind of how we're using it at the moment. I mean, when I was kind of describing the end-to-end process earlier on, so we have like I mentioned, we have those kind of three parts to it: the repository, the course management system, and then the actual the delivery mechanism. So we already have Moodle linked up to Oppia Mobile, so that just automatically exports. And we have, but what we still have to work on is how there would be an integration between like the ORB content repository or another instance of an ORB repository, which might hold different types of data, different subject area perhaps, and how that would then link up to Moodle. And I think kind of one point here, I think that we're when we're discussing this kind of process is that we see it that these tools could be switched in and out. So we're not saying you have to use Moodle or you have to use Oppia Mobile. We're saying, well, these things are connected via kind of APIs and programming tools and things. So we could say, right, well, we're not using Moodle, we're using some other course management system, or we're using a different kind of mobile delivery system. So we could switch those components out, providing that they kind of have the right hooks to link into the other system. So I hope that goes some way to answer your question, Jai.
All right, there's a question from Dr. Hassan. It reads, from when can we submit our content?
Okay, well, you could submit it right now. Yeah, so I mean, we launched the site in the beginning of June, so it's nearly 3 months ago. So and it was open it's been open straight away for submitting resources. So we would love to get people adding more.
Just to add to that, on the content partner page, you can see the guidelines for the kind of content that we're looking for. As Alex mentioned earlier, we're not looking for reports and very long courses that can't easily be watched on a mobile device, but we've provided quite a lot of guidance on the kind of content we're looking for and the sort of quality we're looking for. And we have information at info@empoweringhealth.org, so you can always send us a question if you are not sure if your content's the right kind of material, and Alex or I can have a conversation with you about that. And then when you submit the content, as he described earlier, it will then go to our content review team, and from the content review team it goes to the medical expert panel, and if it goes through those processes okay, then the material will go up onto the platform itself.
Leslie Ann, how soon can we start doing that? Like having a page for AHIN, which will contain eHealth learning objects over.
And I think if we take that conversation offline, it's a very straightforward process, and Alex can help with that.
Yeah, I think technically it's very straightforward. It's just a case of getting getting some of the resources up there, and then we can kind of and check that it's fitting with like the criteria and everything, and then we and then technically it's very kind of straightforward for us to do.
All right, thank you. We have 11 video resources. Small ones are about 5 minutes. One is about an hour and a half.
Right.
They're all over the place now.
Well, probably probably a good thing to do if you want to send me the links to those,
Okay.
or send them to me on like Dropbox or something. Then I can have a look and see. That would be useful. It would be great to see them anyway.
Sure. Great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Any more questions?
So where are you both coming from? Are you in Asia around October 26 to 30? Over.
Hi. I'm most likely going to be in Washington, I think.
Leslie?
At the moment, I've got enough travel plans out. It looks more likely that I'm going to be in Sub-Saharan Africa around that time.
I think isn't Mike going to be over in Indonesia? He's at a conference around that time, no?
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So he may well be there, so we might be able to link you up with Mike.
Okay, please do, because a local trip.
Yeah, I've forgotten which conference it was he was going to, but it was definitely in Bali, and it was sometime in autumn. But I'm pretty sure it was October or November time. So anyway, but we can check that.
All right, good. We like from ORB or Oppia over there. Start introducing to the. I mean, really get them. Installing the Oppia mobile site and
Right.
how it works over.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. So yeah, probably we should have a follow-up call soon to kind of see what would needs to be done there and to kind of get that progressed.
Okay, it's a storm in Manila and it's a long. That's the reason some people are not.
Right. Okay. No worries. But I think it's all being recorded anyway now, so it will be available for people to watch afterwards.
I hope you don't mind. Over here, there's I know a lot of technology, so over.
Okay. Okay. So thanks all for joining us, and great to speak to you all. And thanks for your questions.
Thank you very much, and good night.